Wild card weekend. We have finally made it to the NFL postseason. I am Geoff Fienberg here for another DFS suggestions video for oddschecker.com/US. We'll be breaking down wild card weekend in the National Football League. Like, sub, comment. Tell me which DFS plays you like the most this week in the National Football League. We obviously start off with quarterback. I got a selection for you this week. Lamar Jackson, 7,800 on DraftKings, 9,300 on FanDuel. The Ravens are coming into wild card weekend on all cylinders. I guess you could say sort of like they've come into wild card weekend the past couple years. But Jackson has had double-digit carries every week but one since week 8 this year. Of all the teams in the playoffs, the Titans have given up the most points to fantasy QBs on the year. Their defense has no pass rush and struggles in coverage. This should help Jackson if he needs to throw and already has his rushing floor baked in. This game is also the highest total on the Saturday slate, and it looks like it's going to be a shootout. The over-under for this game sits at 55, and I like a lot of pieces coming into this one. I am high on Lamar Jackson to get it done this week. He's going to have to take advantage with his arm, and I believe that is possible versus the Titans. Big thing, revenge game for the for the Ravens this week. Quarterback Tom Brady, 6,900 on DraftKings, 8,000 on FanDuel. In his last 9 games, Brady has thrown for at least 345 in 7 of them. If you are looking at just the Saturday slate, I believe Josh Allen is going to be hyper popular by quite a large margin. Brady might be a nice ownership discount. Obviously, I'm not in love with the matchup and could argue at 8 and 5, like as the points keep going up, I could be on Washington this week, as I do think there'll be opportunities to get Brady off of his spot. But the Bucs seem to just want to throw the ball and throw some more and not really care. So I could see that continuing. And if you want to pivot off Allen, who will be hyper popular in that Saturday slate, Brady would be my suggestion. I guess that's an indication I'm not totally loving the quarterback options, but I'm quite high on Lamar this week. But you make me pick another one, I'm going to suggest Tom Brady, which many of you might have seen as a surprise. Running back, Nyheim Hines. In these smaller slates, you're going to have to make some pivots to try to not duplicate lineups and stay away from the chalk in many spots. So I'm going to have a potential low-owned guy here, and that is Hines. The Colts are a 7-point dog, and the Bills get up a lot. They may have to start throwing the ball at a higher rate. This would lean to Hines, who's far more adept in the passing game than Jonathan Taylor. Rivers loves to throw to running backs in general. Hines is at 7 targets in the last game and played, which was close. He only has 1 game all year this season with below 3 targets. If he gets a few carries, 6, 7 carries, finds his way into the end zone, he could be a low-owned salary saver. I'm actually quite high on Hines in this spot. Rivers is going to trust him on Saturday morning. Well, early afternoon. The curtain jerker. Bills versus Colts. The Rockers versus the Orient Express opening the card. It's the opening match on this WrestleMania VHS that's holding up my mic. So, hey, that's where my memory comes from. Good times. Being a little boy. WrestleMania 1989. Skydome, Toronto. Derrick Henry. Let's get to what matters, people. 9,200 yards DraftKings. Over 10,200 on FanDuel. There really isn't much to say here. Derrick Henry has 2 games over 200 plus yards in his last 4. Even in a shootout, he still gets the yards. He's still even in an absolute shootout, they still keep feeding Henry. They don't go away from it. He had multiple touchdowns. It's honestly tough not to play a guy like Henry. Again, I like a lot of pieces in this game, and it looks like it's going to be an absolute shootout. The Titans' offense is condensed between Tannehill, Henry, and A.J. Brown, and that's honestly tough to get away from, even if you do like the Ravens. I fully expect the Titans to get theirs on the weekend. Keeping with wide receivers, we're going to go with another starting at wide receiver, we're going to play a pretty good one. Stephon Diggs, 7,700 on DraftKings, 8,700 On FanDuel, Diggs is Allen's favorite target. He also has double-digit targets in every week since week 13, except for the last game where he only played a half, and he still had 8 targets in one half versus Miami. The Colts are a decently hard matchup, but they have been able to get got in recent weeks. We have seen bad teams compete with Indy throughout the year, so obviously I expect Bills in their first down prowess to be able to do that. Diggs is the highest projection on the board for YR and seems like the obvious choice in my opinion. And you aren't even having to pay top dollar for him. So give me Stephon Diggs, member of the Rockers. Deontay Johnson, 6,200 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel. I love Johnson. And so does Big Ben. He's clearly becoming his favorite target. Since week 7, he only has 3 games where he hasn't received double-digit targets. The Browns are completely decimated due to COVID right now. And this is a game that the Steelers should win. I like the Steelers before this COVID news stuff broke. I thought the Browns sort of got a real horrible drawing Big Brother in the main event Sunday on this wild card weekend. Of all the teams left in the playoffs, the Browns have given up the 3rd most fantasy points. 2 wide receivers. The Steelers are also a team that throws a ton, right up there with Kansas City and Buffalo in terms of their passing attempt metrics. Ben has 1 game all year under 32 pass attempts. Give me Deontay Johnson. This guy is becoming a monster. Ben absolutely loves him. Oh, you see it. Doesn't even care. Throws it to him through the drops. Tight end, 1 guy, Jack Doyle, 2,900 on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel. The tight end position, I've had a hard time playing tight end roulette all year unless you go with the super big boys. I'm going to give you a punt here, and it is Doyle. The Bills have struggled against the tight end, and they've given up the 2nd most fantasy points to tight ends of all the teams playing and left. Doyle provides a ton of saving. Rivers loves the little checkdowns, running backs, tight ends. I know it. He made his livelihood for me doing that. All the best to him. All the best. I love the Mafia. I'm close to the Mafia. Friends in the Mafia. Want everyone happy. But I got to bet Philip one last time, people. How could I resist an opportunity to lose money on Philip Rivers for maybe the final time? We'll go down together, me and you, Phil. We'll go down together, bud, but I'm not feeling too confident about it. And when the Mafia does take care of the Colts, I'll be thrilled for all of Buffalo. I love them. American treasure. Jack Doyle, sneaky play. 2,900 on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel. Yeah, Rivers loves the Hines and Doyle make obvious sense. I'm going to be playing them in a lot of places tomorrow. Even if the Bills get up, that's where Phelps going to try to, do his thing. Washington's going to be my lone defense. I like Washington to keep this game pretty interesting. Seems weird to give out the quarterback earlier and then pick the defense going against them. But at 2,400 on DraftKings, 3,700 on FanDuel, but there's no reason both can't be a decent play. The Bucs throw a lot. Brady can put up his numbers, hit his floor, maybe do some big things, while still taking sacks and potentially turning the ball over, allowing the Washington defense to do what they do. We've been suggesting Washington a lot this year, and they're still one of the cheapest defenses this week. The recipe to make Brady struggle is absolutely there. They can get him off the spot. I'm kind of excited to see it. Washington, like him in this setup. I'm Geoff Fienberg. This has been my Wildcard Weekend DFS suggestions video for OddsChecker.com. Like, sub, comment, hit that little bell. Tell me who you like in DFS this week, which picks of mine you want to fade. Either way, let's communicate. I'm out. Let's have a fun Wildcard Weekend. I can't believe we've made it to the NFL playoffs. Super fired up. Double barrel, triple headers. Let's get them, friends.